Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So we are recording, and I am so excited. Surprise, surprise. My girl. Y'all know you have your girls, and then you have your girl. And that is who is surprise joining us tonight. Lori Conway is, oh my gosh, I could talk forever about her. She is such a mentor in my life, and such, honestly, such an answer to prayer. So those of you, Sabrina is brand new, tonight, right, Sabrina?
That's right.
Yeah, literally. So Lori is one of our ambassador uplines and top income earner in the company, top leadership, the best of the best of the best in the entire company. And we get to call her ours. We claim her as our family. That's my heritage right there. That's ours. So I am just so excited that she's just such a doll. And I'm telling you, as soon as you meet her, you can put her in your pocket because she's just such a tiny little thing, and love all over her. So she's just going to share a little bit of her. If you spend 2 seconds around her, you cannot help but have vision and an inspired and a vision for more and greater and all of that. So I just asked her, I said, friend, can you just hop on here and just cast a little bit of vision for us? So go for it, love bug.
Well, I'm so excited to be on, and how amazing is it that we're all meeting and we are like-minded women on a Friday night wanting to learn more. I mean, that's pretty incredible, because when you reached out to me this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Friday, and you're still wanting to get together, and iron sharpens iron kind of deal. And Heather, I just adore you. I know that you know that. I can't say enough about how amazing you are and just gifted you are in so many ways. And you add so much amazing leadership to our business, our organization. And you guys, y'all, ladies, are so blessed to have her as your immediate upline. She is just speaks life over everybody. And as always, you say I'm casting a vision. I feel like she always casts a vision for me every time I'm around her. So I can't thank you enough. I'm honored to be on this with you all tonight. Okay, I'm going to get started. I had some things, and I actually printed something off that I'm going to read to you here in just a minute. But I had some kind of things kind of floating through my mind today, and they all just kind of came crashing down about 20 minutes ago. And so I started taking notes. And, I'm not a big note taker. I mean, I am a big note taker, but usually when I speak, I usually just kind of speak from my heart. But there were a couple things that I wanted to write down because I really wanted to get them across to you. I know we have Sabrina that's brand new, and then we have some more seasoned distributors on this Zoom tonight. So I wanted to talk about casting vision and how incredibly important that is from day one. So if you've joined day one, or it's your 7th year, I'm 7.5 years in now. If you are in and you don't have a vision for yourself, it's time to cast one now. Don't be scared about doing that, because you have to really know where you're headed. If you're going to hit that target, you got to know what your target is, right? So we got to get real and kind of get down to the nitty gritty and say, hey, where am I headed in the next week to 30 days to 60 to 90 days? We're getting towards the end of the year. And so right now, I think a lot of people are, I know a lot of people are really busy with the holidays and thinking of pre-planning, oh gosh, Christmas is now 6 weeks away. Those are things that are real for people, and those are real for us. And it's about understanding how to be hope in that season for somebody. So don't let off the gas pedal on your business right now. Right now is an opportunity for you to be able to really press in and help people not only become a product of the product. I mean, Heather's got an amazing story, but we're headed into the brand new year in January where people are going to have resolutions. But why not get started now? Don't wait. Don't wait on those resolutions for yourself as far as being a product of the product, and don't wait and asking people to join your business, because right now is the time. Trust me, people are wanting Christmas cash, and they can get it right now through this promotion that they have of going Ruby and getting that $1,000. So push that, show people that is really important. But what I want to say is this, that vision, you've got to cast that vision, I think, but more importantly, I know without vision, people perish. In the Bible, it says that. So you have to constantly be creating and casting vision, not only for the people that you are around, but also make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are casting vision as well. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that are helping, not to necessarily raise you up, you think of that selfishly, but that are speaking life into their own life. Does that make sense? That you can kind of be influenced by that and not downtrodden by that. There's so much out there right now with the elections that just took place. There's so much negative, ladies. So be mindful of what you're allowing in your mind, through your eyes, through your ears, because that's what the heart flows, right? So we want to make sure that we are adding and putting in good. So the pioneer, the aviation pioneer, Amelia Earhart, right? I posted this quote a couple of weeks ago, and it still really has stuck with me. I wanted to share it with you. She was like a pioneer. She was the first woman to fly solo over the Atlantic. Like, can you imagine that? Just think of that for a moment. How scared she must have been, right? And her quote, it says, the most effective way to do it is just to do it. And I thought when I read that, it's kind of like what Heather, you did a Zoom for us. You talked about how, hey, if you have a bad day, just change it. It is so simple, ladies. Getting started sometimes can stall people because we overthink everything, and we start to think that you have to have like these big aspirations and big goals. Well, maybe that cast of vision for you is just getting a couple $100 paid for Christmas over the holiday season. Maybe it's just a couple $100 to make a car payment, and it's a couple $100 to bring your husband on a date night. It doesn't have to be a big story or a big transformation. It kind of builds upon that. So I love that she said that, because I think so many times, even in her example of flying over the Atlantic solo by herself, she was a pioneer. I'm sure there was fear involved in that. And if she would have overthought that, she would have never done it, right? And think about how much she has brought to us today in aviation because of things that she did and did out of fear. So I want you to run towards fear. It seems logical to run away from, but I want you to run towards that. If you're afraid of something, there's probably something in that you need to be more close to. Okay, there's probably something in there that's sharpening you to be a better version of you. So listen to that clue and know when you should lean into that fear. And I would say most 99% of the time you need to lean into that fear because it's going to teach you something. So Jim Rohn is one of my very, very favorite network marketers. He's gone now, but he was like the ultimate network marketer, and he has some really great information to share on YouTube. So that might be someone that you want to write down because he's got great advice. And he has here and now advice for you. And now you can actually, even though it was like back in the 70s, and I'm not sure when he passed away, but he's got so much experience that he shares that we can implement here today, even in our here and now society. Maybe he didn't grow on social media, but some of these things that he says are incredible. He talks about the law of averages. And he says that you have to create a ratio. In order to create a law of average, you have to create a ratio. If you don't have a ratio that you're dealing with, then how are you going to play with the law of average? And he talked about the 1 to 10, the creating the ratio of 1 to 10. So if you're talking to about 10 people each and every day, okay, then you're probably going to get one that might say yes. So that's kind of the realistic law of average of numbers. One is going to say yes out of 10. And to kind of back up on that, if you're not talking to people, you can't create a ratio. Therefore, you can have all the vision in the world and you can cast that vision, but you won't get that vision if you're not doing the work. Okay, so we got to create that ratio. And how you're going to do that is by you're going to be talking to people. You're going to be in Messenger, messaging people on Facebook. You're going to be in your own community, talking to people in your own community, maybe at a ball game or a practice field. You're going to be on your phone, you're going to be texting, you're going to be calling, you're going to be talking to people. And whatever number that is for you is going to be different for all of us. My number's a lot bigger. I do this full time, okay? But I've also gotten a lot better at it, asking, because I understand, and Jim Rohn talks about this, the law of averages will go up with the more seasoned you are. So the better you are, the law of averages are going to get up. The only way that you're going to become better is if you do it more, okay? So the harder you work, ladies, the luckier you're going to get. So if you see people that you're following on Facebook and you're like, oh, wow, how did she do that? Well, you're not seeing the behind the scenes work. You're just seeing kind of the highlight reel, so to speak. So you've got to realize that they're seeing successes because they are working for that success and creating that ratio for themselves. And something that he said that really stuck with me is, and hey, we're a baseball family, so this kind of stuck in my brain. If you consider yourself to be a professional or really great networker, then you're going to probably maybe be able to get 3 out of those 10 people to say yes. Okay, 3 out of 10. So I consider myself to be a great networker. I've been in the business for 7.5 years. I know how to talk to people because I've talked to hundreds of thousands of people, okay? Because I created that ratio from the very beginning. I'm learning how to talk to them. I'm learning how to listen to them more. I'm learning how to ask the right questions. I'm learning to just ask the question. And my averages start to go up. So that 3 to 7, he talked about, you're pretty good if you're 3. And if it's over 3, then like you're amazing. And so we're relating this to baseball. And he related this to baseball. And this really hit with me. Do you realize that professional baseball players, to have a batting average of 300, they have to hit 10 balls, and 7 of those are not even getting on base, or they're striking out. Do you realize that? They're getting on base at 300 score. They're getting on base 3 times, and they're getting paid like $4 million a year. Don't you think they had to hit a lot of balls to figure that out? Okay, so think about this. You're never going to get your 300 batting average if you don't hit some balls. I have boys. My husband coaches baseball. They are always downstairs. We have an area in our basement they can hit balls. Even in the wintertime, they're always hitting because it increases their batting average. But if they never went down to hit those balls, then they would never increase their batting average. So he related this back to network marketing. If you're not talking to very many people, your average is never going to go up, and you're going to work a lot harder than you have to. You're going to work a lot harder and not smarter. So just think about what I just said. The more you hit the ball, the better you become. The more you talk to people, the more people you get in front of, the better you become. So if you're going to do an event, if you're going to have host a sample party or an IT party at your house, if you're going to go out and do a vendor event, you want to get in front of as many people as you can. Now, granted, not all of them are going to say yes. You know, you may have invited 10 and you know 7 of those are friends that would never maybe join your business, maybe not even buy a product, but you need that experience. You need the people in front of you because the law of averages say 1 out of 10, right? And the better you get, the more people you talk to, the more people you're around, the better you're going to get at this. You're shooting for that. Am I okay? My internet said unstable, Heather. Am I okay?
You're good.
Okay. The more people that you're around, you're going to start batting higher. You know, you're going to get that batter score up. So you've got to get out there and you got to talk to people. So what I loved about Jim Rohn is that ratio, creating that ratio of that 10%, that ratio of 1 to 10. So if you're in front of 10 people, 10% are going to say yes. If you're in front of 30 people, 3 people are going to say yes. And so you might have a seasoned networker and have a contest for the month that says whoever signs the most in the next 30 days, right? And that seasoned networker says, I'm gonna win this. And then the rookie says, nope, I'm going to. And how is the rookie gonna do it? They're gonna talk to more people, right? They're gonna talk to more people. So maybe if you're not seeing the success that you're looking for and you're staying consistent with it, you're just not talking to enough people. What if you raise that bar on your own self, 10% to the people that you're talking to, and just ask 10% more each and every day. So what I love about the number 10 is there's actually 10 Bible verses that talk about, which is ironic, talk about the law of sowing and reaping. 10 Bible verses about that. And then it also talks about in Matthew, I wrote this one down because I reference this all the time, even when I get frustrated. You know, Jesus told his disciples, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. And that's in Matthew 9:37. And I always remind myself when I'm frustrated, because I get frustrated too, or I maybe message people and people are mean. I mean, there are days that you're on social media and people are just mean. They never really mean to your face, but they're mean online. And sometimes it can really get to you. And so I just have to remind myself, I'm a worker. And I do believe in the law of sowing and reaping. In the Bible, it says the law of sowing and reaping, you know, it's true. It'll come to fruition. Whatever you're doing, it's going to come. And so I'm going to read this to you, and it's a little bit long, but it's so incredibly good. And I want you to take notes, and I can actually send this to you, Heather, but I printed this off because I've read this, and this is from Jim Rohn, and it talks about the law of sowing and reaping. He said, now there is a second law that changed my life in network marketing. I learned the law of sowing and reaping, and in the law of sowing and reaping is also the story of the law of averages. So he learned the sowing and reaping was legit, right? But he also learned the story of law of the averages. He said, jot this down. The story of the sower, it comes from the Bible. I'm in from the Bible, he says, but such a useful story. Here's what the story says. Take note because the drama is in the details. Firstly, the sower was ambitious. When you read the whole story, you'll conclude, yes, this was an ambitious sower. Here was number 2. He had excellent seed. The sower he sowed, the seed had excellent seed. Excellent seed could be excellent opportunity, an excellent product, and an excellent story. I think that's us. We have an excellent opportunity here with It Works. We have excellent products, and we have an excellent story. So we've got to be ambitious. We've got to be that ambitious sower with excellent seed. We already have that seed. Now, here are the rest of the details of the story. For your information, for the drama of your life, so you can understand things a little bit better, learning some of how I got rich by the age of 31. The sower goes out to sow the seed, but the first part of the seed falls by the wayside because the birds get it. Jot this down. The birds are going to get some of your seed. You're going to sow some seed, and the birds are going to come eat it up, okay? Now you say, Mr. Rome, what does that mean? Well, I invited John to come to a meeting. He said that he'd be there on Tuesday night. Tuesday night showed up. John isn't there. I say, I wonder why John didn't make it. Well, now I know the answer. The birds, the birds. John had the great idea of coming to the meeting to look at an opportunity, and someone stole it and said, you're not going to go see that network marketing thing. He says, well, maybe not. So have you jotted that down now? The birds are going to get some of your seeds. Now when the birds get some, you've got 2 options. Number 1 is to chase the birds. You say, well, let me get a hold of that person who talked about it coming to the meeting. I'll tear him a new page. I wouldn't do this, he says. Here's what happens if you go chasing birds. You leave the field, you go chasing birds now, and you stop sowing. This is going to detract from your future and not add to it. So you can't chase birds and try to straighten this stuff out. Here's what you do. It's just one of those things, and here's the best comment when these things are a little disappointing. You say, well, isn't that interesting? You have to say, I thought sure he would be there. He promised me, but I know it was the birds. And you have to say, isn't that interesting? So here's the rest of the story. The sower kept on sowing. See that the secret was to his success, that he kept sowing. If you keep sowing, you can sow more than the birds can get because there aren't enough birds. If you keep sowing, there are always some birds out there, but there's not enough because the law of averages will work for you. My mentor taught me, Mr. Rohn, there are only 9 or 10 real nasty, miserable people in the whole world. Now you know they all move around a lot, and you're liable to bump into one of them once in a while. But when you bump into them, you say, there's only 9 more like you in the whole entire world, and I can handle that. So here's what else do you say. The sower keeps sowing the seed. Now the seed falls. The story says on rocky ground where the soil is shallow. On the rocky ground where the soil is shallow is not of your making because you had excellent seed and you were an ambitious sower. But here's what it says happened. The time the little seed that falls to the ground starts to grow and the little plant starts to grow, by the first hot day it withers and dies. That's not an easy thing to watch. I finally get John started, okay? Sure enough, 3 or 4 days later, someone says, boo, he's gone. It's like those kidnappers, right? He doesn't show up on the second meeting. And I say, I sure thought that John would last at least a week. What happened? He said, the hot weather is going to get some of them. And this is not your making. Here's what you must say when it happens. Isn't that interesting? What can you do? The answer is nothing. You say, well, I'm going to go change this. I wouldn't take that class, he says. The sun comes up in the east, somebody says. Why is that? I would spend much time on that. Just let it happen. Don't go for this stuff. Why stuff? I'm giving you the answers here. The answer is the structure and the consequences and the deal. The answer is the real deal. Anything beyond that is not worth studying. You say, well, how come some just take a little while? I wouldn't sign up for that class either, he says. Here's the answer. Some don't stay. You just have to jot that down. And some will leave, you say. And that's one of those who just don't stay. Now you go to the category to put them in, and you can't solve this now. It's like rearranging the seasons. You can't fool with that. All you can do is cooperate with the things that are set up. I didn't set it up. Well, you say, well, it shouldn't be this way. Well, then you're going to get on your own planet and rearrange this whole deal. But the planet, you're a guest, and you've got to take it as it comes. Now, here's a secret to the ambitious sower with good seed. It said he kept sowing. People left. People didn't show up. People signed up for a kit that they never even, maybe they canceled before they got the kit or shipped it back, or all of a sudden they go MIA, but he kept sowing. Here's what he had to do to keep sowing. He had to discipline his disappointment. The key phrase now is to use this for the rest of your life, because you didn't set up the setup, and some are not going to stay, and that is not because of you. That's not because of your making. Now, if you made gross errors and you ran them off, we'll see that'd be different. You're responsible for that, and you're going to learn from that. That's the normal course of things. That's just the way things are. Here's what it says. The sower keeps sowing. You may make mistakes along the way, ladies. You may not do what you thought you should have done as an enroller, but you just keep sowing. Now it said the seed falls on thorny ground, and somebody says, well, how much of this do I have to go through? Hang on. It's not the end of the story. The little seed falls on the thorny ground, and the little plant starts to grow again. But it's a little plant that starts to grow. The thorns choke it to death, and it dies. So jot this down. The thorns are going to get some of those. And we've experienced that in our businesses, right? The thorns are going to get some. And that's not your fault. And what are these thorns? The story called these little thorns little cares, little distractions, little something. We really don't know who all they are. I said, John, we had a meeting last night. You weren't there. And John says, well, I can't make every meeting. I say, why not? You're part-time. He said, well, the screen door came off the hinges, and you just can't let your house fall apart. You've got to take some time to fix things up. And I can hear the thorns growing. He said, some extra trash had piled up in the garage. You can let mountains of the trash take over. You've got to keep your trash hauled out. People let their little things cheat them out of big opportunities, and you'll feel almost helpless. What can I do about this? And the answer is nothing. And you say, well, why is this? I'm asking you not to sign up for that class. Don't sign up for these. Why is this class? Like, why does this happen? What's the reasoning behind this? It's just the way it is. Like winter following fall and spring following winter. So if you got it, the thorns are going to just get some of those. Now here's the good news. Let's read the rest of the story quickly. The sower now keeps sowing the seed, keeps on sharing the story, keeps on giving invitation. Yes, the invitation can be more powerful now as it is 1 year later than it was the first month, because I'm saying I'm making twice as much money part-time as I'm making at my full-time job. The story can be more powerful, but the law of averages is still going to work. Now here's what the story says. Finally, the seed falls on good ground. Now put this in parentheses. It always will if you keep sowing. If you share a good idea long enough, it will fall on good people. So here's the rest of that story. Some of the good ground did 30%. Some of the good ground did 60%, and some of the good ground did 100%. You say, well, why is the difference in the numbers? I wouldn't sign up for that class. Why have I said that often enough now? Don't register for the class. It's just the way it is. I tried to get 30s to do the 60, found out it was more than I could handle. I used to say, I'll make them successful if it kills me, and I almost died. Now you can't do that. Here's what you do. Let the 30s do the 30 to the best of their ability, because that's how they were built, to their lifestyle, and that's what they'll get, what they want out of life. And let the 60s do the 60, and let the 100s do 100. How can you get some of your 100%? You got to go through all those experiences that you've talked to and all those people. So the message is this simple. Start with ambition and excellent seed, which is your story, ladies. Your excellent seed, you have an excellent product, an excellent opportunity. You have an excellent story that you're building for yourself of that vision. But keep sowing the seed. You've got to persevere. Determination, patience, and the law of averages will carry you past the birds, the weather, the thorns to harvest time. I know that was long, but I thought it was really good because for those of you that are just coming, you're probably going to experience things that you never thought you would experience in this business. You would have talked to people that thought they would be jumping in with you and they decided not to, or you're disappointed by somebody and it lets you take you out. He said, don't sign up for that class. this is not something that you can bother yourself with. You've got to show up, be disciplined in your disappointment. When you're disappointed on those days that you don't feel like showing up, you show up anyway. You show up every day in faithfulness. God says, I love, my pastor said this one Sunday, and he has stuck with me to this day. He said, God doesn't, he looks at your success. He doesn't look at it on a worldly view. He looks at it on an internal view. So if you're measuring your success on a worldly view of like, oh, I can recruit this many, I can make this much in income, I can, yada, 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 I can get to this rank, he doesn't look at that, even if you're Ambassador Diamond, and say, oh, Lord, you did so much better than so-and-so. No, he doesn't care. What he cares about are the little things, the faithfulness that you're doing to show up every day. He will take care of the rest. He will take care of the outcome if you just show up. The harvest is plenty. The workers are few. Now you have to ask yourself, are you a worker? He had the 12 disciples that came around him by choice. They were asked. They could have said no. They were workers. They wanted to be part of that. So you have to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? The harvest is out there. So if you're lying to yourself, telling you can't do it, you're lying, because there's people out there that want our products. There are people out there that need a business opportunity like ours to be able to change their lives. You're stuck in your disappointment. You've got to discipline yourself through that disappointment to show up whether you feel like it or you don't, because you have been faithful to the process. You've been faithful to showing up every day to get to that vision that you're casting for yourself. So it's not just casting the vision, but it's walking through the dirt sometimes to make that happen and persevering through that disappointment. And I know Heather and I have been around long enough that we've seen some disappointment. We've seen some great friends come and go, and those things hurt, and you get stuck. And like what Jim Rome was saying, you get stuck in the, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why? And then that's a vicious cycle that doesn't get you anywhere, just gets you stuck. It gets you stuck. And those birds come and eat, and the thorns take it, and the weather takes it. But you got to realize that you may be planning 10 things, and you may only see one come up, okay? But you got to keep planting if you want more. So the people that say, I don't have my runner yet, I got to say to them, are you being a runner? Are you out there showing yourself faithful each and every day to run after the vision that you created for yourself, maybe that God had planted in your heart? He wants you to have the desires of your heart. And in order to be able to do that, you have to show up. You have to show up, and you have to lead by that example. So many people say, well, I just don't have the leader to lead me. Well, you don't have that here because you have an amazing one. But you know what? You shouldn't be waiting for somebody else to go get what you really want. So don't let those things take you out of the game, and don't let that disappointment start to take you out of that game. And learn to discipline yourself through those disappointments each and every day. And when you start showing up, God will take care of the rest, take care of the outcome. He will take care of that eternal perspective. You'll have to stop saying, like, why am I not seeing this? Why is my check not here? Why am I not getting around the right people? You just got to keep going. You got to keep sowing. You got to keep showing up faithful every day that you are working and you're being innovative and you're showing yourself in a way that you would want to be led. You have got to be the leader that you desire for your team. You've got to be the leader that you desire for yourself. You've got to be someone that stands up and says, you know what, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to pray about it, but I am going to walk in faith too, because I'm going to not wait for him to move me. I am going to move me, and with action, he is going to make mountains move. So you've got to make sure that you are showing up to do that.
So good. So
Really good.
good. Love it, love it. I know you got to go, babe.
I do. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'll send this to you, but I thought it was so good. And even going back to the Amelia Earhart thing, ladies, she was a pioneer. It's been easy for her to say no. That was scary. We do some scary things, but it ain't like that. Okay? Just get over ourselves. People need this more than we need to not feel bad about ourselves or embarrassed or whatever. We just run towards your fear. Hey, Heather, thank you so much for having me on. I so appreciate it.
I love
you, girl. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
Okay,
Yay! Oh my gosh. So for any of you that jumped on late or a few minutes late and didn't hear me, like, Lori is like top 10 in the entire company. I mean, like, she's just a rock star, and she is our upline, part of our upline. So how cool is it that she is just like, hey guys, God just has shown me so much favor with her. Like, randomly got this message from her last year, asking me if I wanted to come to her house. And I literally was in bed and I ran downstairs to Mike and I'm like, babe, I think she just sent me this message by mistake. Because I was so like, Lori Conway, number like, top 10, 20, whatever of the company. And like, she just messaged me. And yeah, anyway, needless to say, I ended up at her house. She said, no, it wasn't by mistake. I want you at my house. And it was amazing. So you just never know, like she was saying, the impact that you're making. And I was sharing the other night with some friends about we are always influencing somebody. Let me share this story real quick with you. And Mel, I don't know, maybe I already told you this at work the other day. If I did, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I would like to hear it again.
I was listening to this yeah, I think I did, because I was like, oh yeah, and then this podcast, and then this podcast. Right. So like Lori said, I would just come alongside too. Hi, Megan! It's the first time I get to meet you.
Hi,
you are
so good to meet you.
I can't wait to hug you. And Sabrina, I think, and Becky, I haven't actually got to hug you yet. So the rest of them know that I'm huggers, but Sabrina,
Becky, there's a hugger, yeah.
Megan, like, here's your warning, just so you know. But so I was just listening to this podcast, and he was talking about one of his employees was a hugger too, and she would just hug and hug and hug and hug, and she didn't realize that she had the flu. Right? Like she had the symptoms and had the flu before she realized it. And so she was infecting people without knowing it. And he was just saying, like, we do that all the time. You are always going to be affecting people, whether or not you know it, before you have the symptom, before you might even see a benefit of that. So what the energy that we're putting out that we are aware of, what we're putting into our mind, like Lori said, I say that so much, our minds, what we're listening to, what we're looking at, what we're reading, what we're focusing on, what we're speaking out. Like God said, you create your world. I created this by speaking it. What are you speaking? So what are we speaking? You newbies are like, fresh, and I'm like, y'all just get this now. Like, I've been in 5.5 years. If you get one thing, just thank him for your diamond, your double diamond, your triple diamond, your ambassador diamond, whatever that is. Don't waste time thinking you're less than anything other than that. And put it out there and look at it and read it and visualize. What's it feel like to make $2,000 a month? What's it feel like to make that $10,000 a month from your phone? Sharing amazing products. Allow yourself to go there, because I feel like so many times we are such a result, like the energy that we put out, those kinds of things people can feel, right? I mean, you're around certain people and you leave and you're just kind of like, man, I just kind of like feel heavy, or I feel sad now, or whatever, or wow, I just feel like woo, on fire. Like after Lori's talking, I'm just like, let's go change the world. Let's go share this with everybody. So, just know that you are, Jen, like this is killing me over here, seeing your chat and not being able to see your face. I know you're driving, but your comments over here make me miss you more. You're so cute. So anyway, I get distracted, but just really focusing on and knowing, not like she said, I love that, discipline your disappointment. What are you going to do with your disappointment? I mean, to say that you're never going to have a disappointment in this business just isn't reality. But listen, anything worth having, you've had to fight for, right? This past year, I'm just like any day now, we'll be at 90 pounds. And it's like crazy because I have had to fight for that thing. I've cried myself to sleep when I didn't reach certain things. Like I've been frustrated. I've been like, Jesus, where are you? All these things. But if I would have quit, right? If you can just focus on winning today. And as she said, sowing today and celebrating it and be like, you know what? I showed up today. When those things come into your mind that make you feel anything less than or not worthy or not good enough or I didn't do, like those kinds of things, I don't have time for that nonsense. I'm not going to allow it in my mind. I'm not going to marinate it. It doesn't define me unless I allow it to, right? It's not a true thing unless I believe it to be true. So really guarding your mind and what you're saying and writing down, what do you want your team to look like? What kind of people do you want on your team? Like she said, be that person, but also like make your list of your ideal team members and pray over that list. And like, I love that she was like, we need to get to a place that there are people praying for this opportunity. There are people that want it for financial reasons. There are people who need it for the friendship. There are people who need it to be a vehicle for a greater vision, a greater purpose. So just knowing, we're about less than
I was
a
going
minute.
to say, I was just about to give you a warning that it changed. It went from 2 minutes to less than a minute. I was watching it. But
That, you know what? And I can just start going, y'all. So
we might
anyway,
get cut off.
that's okay. Let me tell y'all, I love you and I believe in you guys so much. Thank you for hopping on tonight. We really want to get back to like doing these on a more regular basis, like just to kind of touch base and give you guys opportunities to ask questions, or if there's something particular you have, feel free to reach out to any of us on here on the team page. It's not somebody else's team page, it's yours. So any questions, you are not alone. We believe in you. You all have been prayed here and we are so excited for you guys. So have a great night and thank you so much for joining us.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
You
you.
guys are awesome.